Pistons Live is presented by Cure Auto Insurance, and it is true. The Pistons win again. This is a game that was played in tight quarters throughout. Ton of credit to the Cleveland Cavaliers for putting it to the Pistons tonight. But in a game, you got the two of the top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference standings. And again, with only 25 games to go, now 24 games left in the season, this was a signature win for the Pistons against a Cleveland team they're going to be facing here in another 4 days. We'll do it again. But if it's anything like tonight, incredible atmosphere. You can see some of the storylines in this one. Again, it came down to the absolute wire. This gym was incredible atmosphere. And in the end, it is Detroit who gets it done. All right, let's bring everybody on camera here because
it was a hot gym tonight.
It was a hot gym. I was going to say it. It was a hot gym tonight, but Dwayne Casey's not here right now. But just from a standpoint, you know, Cade fouls out in this game. Jared Allen ended up fouling out in overtime. Duncan Robinson fouled out. There was so many storylines. There was so much that went down. Obviously, Jalen Duren's night. We'll get into that. Hope to hear from him momentarily. But just your overall thoughts. You've seen a lot of NBA games.
Yeah.
This is a regular season game, and I know a lot of people say, like, man, playoff-type atmosphere. But this atmosphere was electric.
Well, when you talk about winning the game, 2 things stood out to me, Johnny. First of all, 6 of 27, the Pistons shot from the three-point line. You're not going to win many basketball games if you shoot that bad. However, my statement that I typically make is if you control the glass, you have an opportunity to control the game. The Pistons had 55 rebounds tonight, 21 of those on the offensive end of the floor. So listen, so if you shoot that bad, there's an opportunities to get offensive rebounds, and the Pistons got 21 of those. That's the game to me.
Yeah.
When you get that many offensive rebounds, you create second-chance opportunities, and the Pistons were able to capitalize on those, even though they were dismal from the three-point line.
Yeah, a lot of different ways to win in this league. Again, depth wins at this level. Pistons showcased it tonight. And again, down the stretch, they had to lean on some different guys. Danis Jenkins, who we heard from just before the break. What can you say? I mean, what can you say about, again, just the ice water? Obviously, the game-time free throws, inside 5 seconds of play in regulation to get us to OT. But there's just like, you got to have a little moxie in your game, right? You got to believe you belong, and you can't get tight. The collar can't get tight when the game's on the line, and he didn't.
Listen, if you talk to Danis for more than 5 minutes, you understand the guy is loaded with confidence. Yeah. He's strong in his faith, and when he stepped to the line, I had no doubt that he was going to make all 3 of those calm, cool, and collected, and he sank them all. Nothing to be nervous about when Danis goes to the free throw line again. This is what he was. If you ask him, he's built for this. Yeah. Because, again, he's got a lot of confidence in his ability, and more so than that, he's got a lot of confidence and got a lot of faith in who he is. And I think that's what we saw when he went to the free throw line and presented those 3 free throw shots that went straight through.
To get awarded the shot, right? To be able to get into your shooting motion, because obviously the league, you don't always get that call to go to the line to shoot 3, but he was so quick with it. And there was no mistaking that he was going up for the shot, that he earned the 3. But obviously it wasn't just the 3 free throws. It was everything he did in this game. Big block there at the end of the game as well. And there, the emotion on the face says it all in our Buick GMC Pro Vision. Look at him.
And
look at him.
Well aware that he also pointed down to Coach Bickerstaff, challenged this one. Yeah. Because I feel like I got a clean block on it, and he was absolutely right. Coach went to the challenge. Pistons ended up winning that one.
It was huge.
That sealed the fate right there.
Yeah, big block shot on the other end. If you're going to play, if you're going to start for this team, the Pistons, you got to be a two-way player. Danis Jenkins is that. All right, let's get to the overtime session, our Xfinity highlights, because once he got to OT, when he made that when he makes the 3rd free throw, ties it up, then they get a stop at the other end. Then you get to OT, and you always feel like, especially in the college game, you always feel like once you get to overtime, it was like you already knew. Like you already knew, because the wave of momentum has pushed so much. Pistons race out to the first 6 points in that overtime frame. Now, they didn't run away with it. No. Obviously, credit to Cleveland, and they're going to hurt you with the perimeter shooting. But in OT, they did enough, not having Cade Cunningham on the floor, still able to find ways with different guys.
Listen, lots of guys will get that belt, game belt tonight. Yeah. Asar Thompson played tremendous on defense. Uncle Tobias made some clutch baskets out of that post area. Then that's a nice feed from Danis Duren running the floor. And the rebounding, as I said, 21 offensive rebounds, 55 to 41 was the advantage the Pistons took on the glass. To me, ultimately, that controlled the game, gave the Pistons the opportunity to win. The final salvo there by Bagley. Pistons all over it. They secure the rebound, and they go home with the victory.
Yeah, big-time stuff. You know, before the game, we were talking with JB Bickerstaff, and he apologized because he didn't have a voice.
Right.
Like a bit of laryngitis. Now, after 53 minutes of action, we're going to see what that voice sounds like now. But I obviously got to be pleased with the grit, the fight that his team showed here tonight. Let's hear from JB Bickerstaff. Coach's post-game remarks brought to you by Glassman Automotive.
JB, what did that final stretch from the end of regulation through overtime reveal about your group tonight?
I don't think it revealed anything, right? I think that's who we've been, and our guys continue to show up when their number's called.
In a moment that big for Danis to be at the line, hit all three, I mean, just the poise that a young player shows in that moment to you.
I mean, he's been mature, you know what I mean? Like, I hate to say that, but it's not surprising anymore what he's done. When his number's been called, whatever the moment's been, he showed up, and he's been productive for us and effective for us.
Tonight was Duren's fourth straight game with 25-plus. Obviously, he had big plays on both ends after Cade fouled out. What have you seen from him just from a assertiveness standpoint this past week and him stepping up and understanding what he can do to opposing defenses?
I mean, I think it's that moment where you figure it out, right? And all the things just come together, and I think they're coming together for him. The game slowed down for him. You know, his understanding the spacing and when to attack, like all those things have slowed down and given him opportunities.
Although you ended up changing the rotation a little bit tonight by giving Marcus Sasser a chance, how did he impact this game that went beyond what we see on the box score?
I mean, his defense, his energy, his ability to space the floor. You know, I think it's just like that next man up mentality, but there's a juice that comes with it. And I thought he brought that tonight.
You've mentioned since media day that y'all kind of challenged JD over the summer to be able to expand his game a bit more, and you just mentioned he's kind of figuring it out. Did you expect it to happen this fast?
I mean, the work that he put in is paying off, and that's all I can say.
JB, you said you've seen this from your team before, but you're down by whatever 8 or 9, and Cade goes out, fouled out. So have you seen that with the final 2 minutes with everybody else?
That was 9 games we were playing with him.
Well, it worked.
Yeah, no. Again, it's moment to moment, time by time. Collectively, the guys rise to the occasion. And, you know, you lose Cade, obviously that hurts. You lose Duncan, that hurts. But we're, like we keep saying, we're deep, and we trust the guys we have on the floor that they can go out and make plays. And they did that again tonight.
Welcome everybody back on. You guys didn't hear this, but if you're watching the game tonight, you heard the horn. You know, they say play to the final horn. That horn was sounding for I don't know how long it was, like 15 minutes or something. Anyway, how long? 12 minutes.
Somebody had to pull the plug on it to get it to stop.
They just punched it again. It rattled our cage a little bit. All right, you heard JB Biggers, and you know, you learn a lot, obviously, about a coach and about, you talk about confidence, like in a guy like Danis Jenkins. You know, it's like the confidence that JB has. You know, he wasn't in there wearing a smile ear to ear. It was like, you know, we did what we were supposed to do. We handled our business. It wasn't pretty at times, but it wasn't surprising to him because of the mettle that his team showed tonight. And he was asked about Jalen Duren. We'll make him our Cure Auto player of the game. Third 30-15 game of his career. We were already talking about the numbers over the last 3 games since he came back from 2-game suspension. Sure. Teams can't do anything with him right now. I mean, this is, you know, I think he's the best. I think he's the best big in the Eastern Conference right now.
Yanni, you have to get a whole lot of evidence to prove otherwise. And this guy tonight made it special because he was up against